The following is a non-profit horror story narration. The story narrated with full permission and cooperation is written and owned by the author, who is credited in the subject line and in the description down below, along with a link to the original story. This video may contain some material such as violence, creepiness, jump scares, adult language, and suggested content which may not be suitable for some viewers. Please support the official release, and viewer discretion is advised.
The night was hot as hell, and I once again sat on my own in my own apartment, drinking vodka as I browsed the internet. I was, as usual, flicking through things such as Reddit, Facebook, and various online dating websites. Yeah, I know. Being lonely with hardly any friends, in addition to being single, just sucks big time. Little was I to know that apparently it was also a crime to be lonely and single. And it was all because I was gullible enough to click on a Facebook invitation, and because I was foolish enough to accept it. As you can see from the title, I clicked on a Facebook invitation. Well, basically, I was invited to one of them singles nights at a party within my city. Being slightly drunk at the time, and reading from multiple people that online dating was a waste of time, I thought this would be an exciting opportunity to meet some new people. I found it very difficult to talk to people on the internet, due to the fact my photos were far from photogenic. Mostly women just ignore me, but often they block me. So I thought, why the hell not? Perhaps people will like me better in person and give me a damn chance. After accepting the Facebook invite, I received a message the next day from a young lady called Lucy. When I saw her pictures, I was in awe. She was absolutely stunning, almost as she worked as a model for a living. She welcomed me to Facebook and told me she would be my date for the night, and how much she was looking forward to seeing me. At this point, I was surprised. I thought I was there to meet people at that party, not already have a date at the party. Either way, I was pretty ecstatic. This was to be my first date in months. But not only that, but this beautiful woman was actually messaging me. Lucy shortly suggested afterwards, "Why don't you come over to my house before the party? You could escort me there." I didn't see why not. It seemed an excellent idea at the time. I eagerly accepted, and I was thrilled with how it was going. I don't consider myself a great-looking guy per se. Far from it. But I'm most certainly not a Picasso painting. I thought it was perhaps possible she saw something in my photos that she liked. I checked her hobbies and interests, and interesting enough, we had very similar hobbies and interests. Thus I thought, maybe that is why she took such a huge interest in me. It was even more enthralling that she was doing all the initiating. I was so used to women expecting the guys to do all the work that it was just such a pleasant surprise to me. Afterwards, we pretty much talked to each other pretty much every day. The party was due to start in about 2 weeks' time on that Saturday. Up to that Saturday, we were messaging each other back and forth quite often. At the time, I didn't think much of it. But thinking back now, there was most certain a red flag. She never wanted to speak on the phone with me. I get nervous speaking on the phone, she explained. Alright, no worries, I responded, not wanting her to think I was too eager or creepy. It shortly afterwards got to the day I was meant to pick her up from her place. She gave me the address. I dressed up smart and then drove to her apartment. I must admit, at the time, I was absolutely breaking it. I really wanted to drink a glass of vodka before going, just to settle my nerves. Of course, like most places in the world, not only is drink driving illegal, but it's also extremely dangerous. The thought of accidentally harming her or anybody else while it's intoxicated sent a shiver down my spine. Her apartment was amongst the others in a tall, dirty building with an intercom near the main door. She was a young woman who lived on her own, so despite how unattractive the building was, I really admire how well she was doing for herself. I looked at the intercom and searched for the number 33. Then I froze. Why was I so nervous all of a sudden? Was it because I was due to go on a date with a girl? I awkwardly pressed the button and heard a buzz. I waited, expecting to hear her voice. Hello? Lucy? Is that you? Yet there was no reply. I only heard the sound of the main door as it clunked to let me know that it was now unlocked. I hesitated again. I remember Lucy telling me that she hated to speak over the phone. I thought, could it have been just a serious case of anxiety? But she seemed so confident and extroverted when she spoke to me via Facebook Messenger. I slowly walked through the main door, unsure why I was doing this. I looked around the area and I saw the doors numbered from 1 to 12. I guess her apartment must be on the upper floor. I then made my way to the 3rd floor and saw her apartment, room 33. I stood in front of the door and started to contemplate walking back downstairs. Despite this being my first date in an awfully long time, I felt unusually nervous. Then I thought, I've been waiting a long time for this, and so I couldn't just chicken out now. I gave 3 knocks. Then shortly afterwards, the door creaked open with nobody there to welcome me. Hello? I asked as I cautiously walked into the apartment. And there was Lucy, sitting on the sofa. It was indeed Lucy. The same Lucy who I've been talking to for the past 2 weeks. She smiled at me. However, it wasn't an accommodating smile. It was a sinister yet suave grin that one could give perhaps a piece of turd, not a date. Nice to finally meet you, I said nervously. Then a towering man came charging into the room as he held a video camera. What the fuck you think you're doing? He yelled as he charged towards me. Was all I could mutter. I said, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
You cheeky little shit. This is my fucking girlfriend. Do you honestly think you can have a fucking chance with her?
He yelled at the top of his voice as he aimed the camera at my face. Then he looked at me with disgust.
Look at the fucking state of you.
I looked behind the towering man to see Lucy was sniggering as she covered her mouth with her hands. When I look back now, I think, what a bitch. But in reality, back then, I was a complete shivering mess. I'm sorry, I'll go.
Oh no you don't. You're gonna get on your fucking knees and you're gonna fucking apologize. Think you can try to get it on my missus, eh?
He roared.
You want me to get on my knees?
Then the towering man then clenched the one hand that was holding onto the camera and directed it towards me.
You want a fucking piece of this?
I hesitated, but I obeyed. I collapsed pathetically on my knees. I had no chance of beating this man in a fair fight.
I'm sorry, Lucy. I'm sorry, Lucy.
The towering man then observed me for a good 5 seconds and then smiled. He looked at Lucy, who also smiled. After exchanging smiles, he looked back at me with a hearty smile, his angry face gone.
It was just a prank, bro!
I paused. Just a prank? It was just a prank? Most people, I presume, would feel relief at this point. But not me. I had two people who had just made me look like a complete idiot, and they were probably going to upload the video to the internet to show how much of a fool I was. It was a fucking prank? Are you two out of your fucking mind? You know what? I can't deal with this. Fuck you both! I yelled as I stood up. Lucy stood up, looking concerned. Calm down. If I knew... So she speaks. Well, fuck you as well. I then looked at the towering man, who seemed dumbfounded that I didn't join him in thinking his prank was hilarious. Then I did something out of character. I punched him in the face. The punch sent him hurling backwards. His head crashed into the coffee table, making a loud thud. Then I stormed out of the apartment, not thinking to look back. As I was strolling down the stairs, I heard Lucy screaming, "Tony!" I honestly didn't care at this point. I was in such a fury that I didn't care about the consequences of my actions. As I drove back to my house, still in a feeling of rage, I saw an ambulance blazing past me with sirens turned on. Then I thought, could it be because of the man I just struck? I decided it probably wasn't. The man I punched was an awfully big man. Surely he could have taken a punch from a little man such as myself. Besides, I honestly didn't care at this point if the man was hurt. He deserved it. And I should have punched Lucy as well for what that bitch did. After returning home, I immediately head straight to the fridge, opened it, and grabbed a nice cold can of Foster's, my favorite beer. I guzzled it down and felt the cool liquid pour down my throat. Then I received another message. I frowned. It was from Lucy. I wondered what she could want. I presumed she was just messaging me to apologize. Oh, I was wrong. Why haven't you come over? She questioned. I hesitated before replying. What the fuck are you talking about? Excuse me? What is your problem?
What do you mean, what is my problem, you fucking bitch? I'm really confused. All you men are the same, pretending to be nice and then suddenly treat us like shit. I thought she was trying to manipulate me. In all honesty, I just experienced something very traumatic, so why wouldn't I? Oh my god! After what you had just done to me, you honestly expect me to treat you nice. What the fuck are you talking about? At this point, now starting to feel slightly tipsy from the beer that I just drunk, I was feeling very puzzled. You know what? She didn't reply after that. I collapsed on the couch and stared at our Facebook conversation. What was she on about? There was no chance in hell that she forgot what happened. So what was it? Was she trying to manipulate me? Was she on drugs? Then I scrolled through our Facebook conversation and saw something very intriguing, yet disturbing. "55 Albernito Crescent." I looked at my phone for a minute, still unsure what this meant. The address I went to initially was a completely different place. The address I remember going to earlier was 33 Snooker Street. Why was it different now? I thought, could it be that I was mistaken and simply mistook a different address from my Facebook Messenger? No, that was impossible. Lucy was the first person to give me her address in perhaps months, and I remember specifically messaging her while it's happening. I have to check out 33 Snooker Street again, I thought, to clarify I wasn't going batshit crazy. I thought of an apology I could muster to whoever was in the apartment and left my house. I didn't like the thought of apologizing to whoever was in the apartment, but I suppose it was better than rocking up and down. Hey, just checking to make sure you're actually Lucy. I then got into my car and drove all the way back to 33 Snooker Street, the same apartment that I promised myself that I would avoid for all eternity. I was slightly concerned about drinking alcohol beforehand, however. I pushed those worries in the back of my mind. I only had one can of beer. It's not like I drank a full bottle of vodka. When I finally arrived at the apartment block, something was indeed different. At the time, I couldn't quite think to put my finger on it. I was feeling overwhelmingly anxious. I even had goosebumps all over my skinny arms. I looked for the number 33 on the intercom again and pressed. This time there was no buzz. And this time, there was no sound to let me know that the main door was unlocked. I pushed the main door and a foul odor crept into my nostrils as I crept inside. Now I could see what was different. Most of the doors were boarded up, and the floor was covered in litter and animal feces. As well as being absolutely terrified, I was also absolutely bewildered. I clumsily walked back up to the stairs to the place I thought Lucy's apartment was. Room 33 wasn't boarded up, but likewise, the door wasn't the best of shapes. The door handle was particularly hanging off. There were holes in a variety of places in the door, and the paint had more or less disappeared. I remember specifically that this whole apartment complex was in pristine condition, and room 33's door was also in pristine condition. So what the hell happened? I paused, and then nervously pushed the door open and looked inside. Nothing. There was some litter on the floor, some red stains around the apartment, and pieces of wood scattered around, but once again, I remember that this room was in pristine condition when I first came here. So what was going on? Any sign of another human being here was gone, never mind anybody living here. After getting back home, I went back to my fridge and drank a bottle of vodka. I vow to never use the internet for dating ever again.